Welcome back, everybody. It is the holidays. If you're listening right now, that means one thing around here at Vortex, and that's our holiday cartridge talks. I've got Jim to my right as per... Well, not as per usual, Jim. I miss you around here. You're not here all the time. And Ryan Muckenhern across from me. You know him. Muckypedia.
I'd never heard that before. Did you make that up?
A listener called him the Wikipedia. Then on a different podcast, I started calling him Wiki Ryan or Muckypedia. I don't know. Ryan hates it.
Muckypedia is awesome.
Ryan, you hate it. I'll probably keep doing it. We're going to talk today about a cartridge. You guys asked for it. We love it too. Mm-hmm. This is the 204 Ruger.
Yeah. This is our second Ruger cartridge we've done a 10-minute talk on.
Yeah, we did the 375 Ruger, right?
Correct. So yeah, now we're going to like a very different side of the spectrum.
Yeah. This is, like you said, probably couldn't be more different in a lot of ways.
Right.
Ryan, what's going on with this guy?
Well, a couple things right off the bat. I just want to point out Mark Boardman got a deer the other day because he has his beard back.
True.
Hey,
true.
Whatever it takes.
Moving into the 204 Ruger, a Wildcat, actually, that was brought to commercial light, a joint venture between the Ruger Firearms Company and the brilliant ballisticians at Hornady. We start with one 222 Remington Magnum. Now, there's an obscure cartridge that nobody talks about. And then you neck it down to 20 caliber. And you get the 204. 32 grain VMAX at 4,225 feet per second.
Staggering.
It's fast.
What? Okay, I remember when the 204 came on the scene, and it came on the scene hot.
I remember where I was standing.
Right, and like buzz. I look at the numbers. I look at this thing. I'm like, number one, why don't I own one, actually? And then, like, maybe not as much anymore?
I think it was doomed. Not doomed because it's still prolific. We have a lot of customers that call it. But like, I think the application...
It wouldn't qualify as a lead balloon.
No. Careful, Mark. No, not a lead balloon at all. I think a lot of people that I was speaking with at the time, and this was just before I got into selling guns, had the notion that it was a 500-yard and in coyote round. And I think what happened was it just didn't have the bullet weight attached to it to really make it that. I think it's a great coyote round, but not at the distances that I think a lot of people thought it was.
Okay.
That being said, if I was going to pick a cartridge for smaller critters like fox or bobcat or prairie dogs, especially varminting in general, like the small, rodentia, I think that there's probably not a better cartridge. It is very fun to shoot. It is extraordinarily flat shooting, extraordinarily fast, and it is, it's explosive. Not in the literal sense that it has some sort of explosive charge in it, but its performance is explosive.
Well, so that would be, in my head, like okay, it seems like it's designed for two things. Like you said, like you shoot this lighter weight bullet, it is like a pelt-saving cartridge.
Yep.
It's going to go in. It's going to come apart.
Yep.
It's not going to exit.
Yep.
But then also on some of these smaller statured critters, I guess I don't have any personal experience with it. I would almost be worried that it would be explosive.
In fact, I think that's that's the desired effect.
Yeah, like it would just come apart and just
like a lot of energy transferred into a small animal.
Very quickly.
Maybe it wouldn't save the pelt, I guess is what I'm saying.
For those,
like picture a prairie dog.
Yeah, for those animals. I don't know many people who skin prairie dogs.
I was going to say,
okay, I was just
pelts?
like for reference, like if you shot like a small fox or something like that,
Yeah.
picture what happens to a prairie dog when you
Mark's
shoot.
got a real nice prairie dog rug at home. Took a lot of dogs.
Jim, you've slept in that blanket before.
Oh, my
Thanks.
goodness.
I appreciate the leprosy, Mark.
Yeah, it's super fast, super flat shooting, great varminting cartridge. And I know a lot of guys that hunt coyotes with them, and they've done really well. I think a lot of those guys that I've chatted with, though, have told me the same thing. Like, you kind of draw the line a little bit closer than you thought you might, based on what you read on the back of the box. And, follow-up shots may be required. But it is still a brilliant little cartridge. Very fun to shoot. Great accuracy potential. You can chamber it in things like the AR-15, which is neat. Remember the first one of those I saw on the scene was from Les Bear. I had a customer order one of those up from me. That was a pretty cool piece of equipment. Shot famously. I mean, that was a cool gun. He used it for prairie dogs.
Oh, he did use it for
Yep,
prairie dogs.
that was his. That was one of his designated prairie dog cartridges. That guy loved 204s. He had one in like everything.
How do they? How does one of them things cycle? Like
Good.
Fine.
So yeah, when you look at like a 223 Remington and you look at a 204, like if we were to just toss them on the table, to the untrained eye, they'd look probably about the same, rolling across the flat. But the 204, slightly longer, and the shoulder is a little bit more forward. So coming off of the Triple Deuce Magnum, which is a bigger case, it scaled appropriately. And then, of course, neck down to 20 caliber.
Right. So, and I think this is probably exactly what you may have just said, but it's just, we talk about these cartridge nomenclatures and how they come, and it's just interesting. It's almost like there's no rules, but it says here, to make the 204 Ruger, the 222 Remington Magnum case was neck down to .204 inches, which is actually 5 millimeters. So I guess I'm surprised we didn't call it the 5 millimeter Speedster or something.
Well, that's because we're not in Europe.
And remember how sometimes metrics don't perform at the same level as standard with respect.
Used to.
Correct. With respect to naming convention. So if we would say 204 or we would say 5 millimeter, which one of those sounds anemic?
5 millimeter.
Yeah. But for no good reason. Because it's the same.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, shoulder move forward and angle increase to 30 degrees.
Yeah.
What kind of bullet weights are we looking at in this guy, Ryan?
Kind of actually a decent little gambit now. Up to 40 grain. 32 grain was the initial loading. It was a 32 grain VMAX. But they've got lighter weight options, too, in like a non-lead option, like a sintered metal core, things like this. So you can go down into the low 20s.
Actually, I just found that here in my notes. If they're correct, I trust Ryan Muckipedia more than I trust the actual Wikipedia, which is what I have here. It's saying 22 to 55 grains, which that's a pretty big, wide range there.
I mean, you look at that and you're like, that is a varminting cartridge.
Yeah, for sure.
What is essentially somebody who's looking at the 204 Ruger? What else are they looking at? What's competing with it?
Oh, 223, 22, 250. Dare I say 17 Remington, although that cartridge is pretty obscure now.
What's it got that they don't got aside from some, panache?
Velocity. But we can load a 22 250 to the same velocity, but we're doing it in a bigger case and using a little more powder. And, the ability to be running an AR, which is kind of cool. You can get 22 250 ARs now, but they're not a standard AR. Like this theoretically would be nothing more than a possibly magazine change, and not even magazine change, but like a follower change, maybe. So it has a lot going for it in that. Maybe not a lot.
If you want it, it's a feather in its cap.
Yeah. I think it offers a little bit better ballistic performance over the 223 when we're looking at it, with a lightweight bullet and what it's doing. I mean, again, with the 223, we're just removing weight from the projectile, but we're still retaining the diameter. With the 204, we're going to a smaller diameter projectile. We're increasing, BC. Not that it really is a big significant talking point at that, but it's a neat little cartridge. It's fun. I could never load it to the box posted velocity when I was hand loading for it, though.
What'd you gas it up to?
Just to take over 4.
Do you still have that 204?
No.
Every time we discuss a small zippy cartridge, I always question my purchase of a 17 HMR.
Very different animal, though.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But I'm not shooting coyotes with it. You know what I mean? I got it for groundhogs.
Yeah, you're doing yard work with it.
Yard work.
That's your garden gun.
Yeah, garden gun. But I will say, we said this before the podcast. I didn't even realize we were about to talk about the 204 Ruger. There's a couple of cartridges out there right now. Now, I don't. Who knows what the holidays will bring? So we're recording this a little bit in advance, just so you're aware. But
maybe they'll bring me
maybe
they'll bring me a 204 Ruger.
Maybe it will. Yeah, wouldn't that be nice if Santa got his FFL approved before then? But ammo can be hard to come by right now. I was just in a large hardware store locally that I'm a little bit upset with due to their reorganization. Won't name them. But I did find the ammo section, and I'm finding it very interesting, the types of ammunition that I am seeing on the shelves, which, for a long time I haven't been seeing any ammo on the shelves. But the ones that you do see are I'm not going to name that one because I bought a gun in it because I can find ammo for it. So I'm not going to name one of these.
Selfish.
Yes.
Jim, you're always getting on me about not wanting to share you don't share your spots, your hunting spots. You won't share the cartridge.
No, it's my spot. It's my
40
cartridge.
Smith, 40 Smith and Wesson.
That's
It
my
was 40 Smith and
cartridge,
Wesson.
Mark.
That's different.
Yes.
So, I
did
also
see
want to point out. I want to point out that Jim was talking about a reorg of this retail store. It's not like it was some corporate restructuring. They moved the departments around a little bit.
Yeah, in a very nonsensical manner,
You'll get
Mark.
used to it.
Who puts kitchen things next to the horse feed?
They probably put their science behind it.
Oh, good. I got my Tupperware and I got a 100-pound sack of horse feed. Great.
Okay.
Thanks.
I
always wish those were right next to each other.
Let's get back to the cartridge.
204 Ruger.
204 Ruger was present, all right? And I couldn't help but notice because I thought, oh, look at that, 204 Ruger. I also noticed a number of the straight wall cartridges always being available down there. So,
which we have the straight wall crossfire rifle scope to complement that.
We do. And especially around these parts, there's no reason why you wouldn't necessarily shoot one. We had some people in at the Hunter Sight-In prior to gun deer season here. Do you remember there was a gentleman who showed up who was shooting 7mm Remington Magnum, I believe, or 7mm 08. I can't remember which one. But he only had 4 cartridges. He had for the season because he couldn't find any anywhere. And
hopefully he's listening.
Well, and it only took 2 to get him confirmed.
Okay.
So due to some we had him dry fire a while, make sure he was good. Then we bore sighted and we did all this stuff. We got 2 shots. He ended up literally center punching the bullseye. We're like, all right, now you got 2 to hunt with.
Buck in a doe.
Yep. But, think to myself, hey, around these parts. Anyway, I'm getting off the topic of the 204 Ruger. Sorry. But straight walls could be a great alternative choice. But back to the 204 Ruger, it's something that you can find. How about that?
It is. I think a detractor for it when we're comparing it to things like the 223 or the 22-250. 204 is a diameter small enough that in the states that allow you to use small diameter cartridges for big game hunting, the 204 will not make the cut. And so if you're between a rock and a hard place and you have a varmint cartridge that you could use for a deer cartridge, 223 Remington will make that cut. 204 will not.
Yeah, I was going to say, actually, after I went on that whole tirade, I wasn't implying the 204 would be good for whitetail. I was implying the straight walls that were on the shelf.
Right.
204.
Right.
Things that it does do fabulously is shoot varmints, coyotes, things like this. Great target rounds, very accurate. All the rifles I've ever shot in it have been stellar. Things it will not do, will not be able to take a white-tailed deer. At least here in Wisconsin or Minnesota.
Right.
A lot of the other states that allow 22 center fires to do that. I know a couple guys who've shot hogs with them.
Oh, interesting.
Yep.
204s?
Yep, right behind the ear.
Oh, sure.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's a good job.
Interesting.
Fun little round.
I like it. Fast, flat, light recoiling.
Almost nothing.
The 204.
Yep.
Wow. You did it.
Do we close it?
I'd say so. Let us know your thoughts. Does anybody out there listening have a 204? 1, congrats, because you can probably find ammo for it, at least at the local hardware store around here. 2, what do you use it for?
Yeah. Let us know. Comment below.
All right. Bye, guys.
See ya.
Bye.